very good morning to you, our viewers. Welcome to Eid. It is a rainy day in Lusaka. I'm not sure where you're watching us from. Tell us how the weather is. But here in Lusaka, it's raining cats and dogs, Patrick, whatever that means. But
exactly. That's what
I'm going to use it.
But I know the term is common, but I don't know how to use it as well.
It's very common, and it's usually used when it's like raining, really raining, like the way it is, you know. And you know what happens in Lusaka? It's the Papu season where the central business district is flooded. Most of the areas in Lusaka are flooded because of poor drainage system, Patrick.
Yes.
You could see when we were coming here, the roads, it doesn't matter where it is, but most of the roads are really flooded.
And some people, you call it at the exhibition of failed engineering projects.
Exactly.
In that the drainages that we have usually fail to contain the flow of water, and as a result we see a lot of floods in various communities. But the good part is that most parts of Lusaka have a good talent in that they'll clear up, unlike other areas where water will be stuck for days, and that has been a problem. And we have seen the disaster management and mitigation unit moving across the country, checking on the situation. That has been bad in other areas.
The bridges have collapsed. You know, somewhere schools have been temporarily closed to allow the water to seep into the ground and resume the whole process of education. But then it's a very sorry sight, Patrick.
Yes,
it shouldn't be like that. And if this is happening to agricultural areas, it's actually indicating that there would be probably some form of hunger and they'll need quick relief food. And I think just here in Chongwe, one of the traditional leaders was asking for relief food in advance because he has predicted that there won't be much harvest due to the poor rains, which could be too much or too little, as we have seen. And you can only think of the people that are in Mississippi area, somewhere there, Kamala South, there, that's Lusaka, Kuku,
Kalingalinga, that famous area.
Those are DMMU clients.
We have DMMU clients in Lusaka as well. We have to check on the situation because we see how, if it continues to rain like this, the situation may be worse by over the weekend.
By midday, even midday it would be worse. Anyways, thank you so much for watching Camnet TV. We have just started the show. Let's go straight into the morning boost.
Hello. I'm your boy Harrison, aka the Fitness Papi, once again, and we are here at Chonzi Fitness Gym, and today we are going to do spinning for probably 5 minutes or 4 minutes. Okay, we can go. You have to insert here. Make sure that the foot is wrapped around the belt. Then you now start. Okay. So the benefit of spinning, it actually helps boost up your metabolism, and it also helps your cardiovascular system. And physical benefits, can tell it also helps you with the calves, the legs. Okay. So we go. Since I have less time, so I'm going to just speed up things. So I'm going to harden here my adjustive knob. Then I stand. Take it slowly. Take it slowly. So this kind of movement helps the gut muscles here, and when you take it down, it helps your calves here. Let's go. So take it slowly, slowly. Okay, then I loosen my adjustive knob. I sit down again. So you can also do a full body workout while having a stationary bike, but I'm not encouraging for those who have the bikes, the normal transportation bikes. Yeah, but if you have a stationary bikes, you can also do a full body workout. Okay, here we go. So start with the back squeeze. Back squeeze. Okay. So from there you can go to side to side. Just for like this. Okay. So this one really helps the shoulders here. Okay. Then from here you can go to one hand lace. Let's go. This kind of movement also helps you in your shoulders. Keep going. Okay, then from there, you harden your adjusted knob. Then you stand again, all the way. Stretch your legs, stretch your legs. Keep going. Stretch it up, stretch it up, stretch it up, stretch the abs, and we can call it a wrap. Okay, guys. Then after here, you can just stretch. Okay, then you come this side. Do a stretch. Okay. From here, you do your back stretch. I mean your what is your chest stretch. Okay, then you tap your toe here. Hold. Do your back stretch. Okay, and we are done with our workout. Remember, it's about your health. You've been with me, Harrison, aka the Fitness Puppy, here at Chon's Fitness Gym. Bye bye.
Welcome back. You are watching the Camnet breakfast show. That was the morning booster with the Fitness Puppy.
The Fitness Puppy. Mm-hmm. I gave myself a name, isn't it? What?
The Fitness Chick. Is it the one?
Yes, yeah. Indeed. So it's always good, like Patrick always talks about this, and he never ever forgets that it's important to flex your muscles, as it gives you a chance to just do away with some of these non-communicable diseases. At least your heart beats a bit faster than it just being stuck. Number BP are shooting, things like that. So yeah, it's always good to be on the flexi side so that your body is flexible, your muscles are flexible, you don't have those stiff muscle, you call them muscle cramps?
Yeah.
Those that play football, like muscle, whatever you guys mean, though. But I know that it's probably the muscle has just done,
yes, a growing problem, all those things
like that. So ensure that every morning, just do a 5 minutes workout, keep yourself fit, and do away with some of these diseases that may come with you being inactive. For now, let's go straight into the morning bowl, into the health corner, as we are still talking about healthy.
Hi, welcome to the Health Corner here on the Breakfast Show. I am Dr. Nakubia Namfaya. So this week we have been talking about prostate cancer, and yesterday we talked about some of the signs and symptoms of prostate cancer. We say that people who have prostate cancer might have certain symptoms like urinary problems where they feel the urge to urinate, but when they go to the toilet to urinate, they find the urine is not coming out, or they have very little urine. And they might also experience having a weak stream where the urine is coming out, but it's not with the force that it usually comes out. They might also have blood in the urine, and they might also urinate frequently. So they usually go to the toilet very frequently to urinate. Then we also say that some of the other signs that they might present with are that they might have weight loss, very significant weight loss where they lose so much weight in a very short period of time. They might also have symptoms like fatigue. So they might be feeling tired most of the times because of the condition that they have. So today we'll talk about how prostate cancer is diagnosed and how it's treated in the hospital. So prostate cancer, there are some steps that are needed to be taken for you to arrive at the diagnosis of having prostate cancer. So usually your doctor will order a test that we call the prostate specific antigen test. And if this test comes out positive, or if there is an elevated amount of this PSA, we call it PSA, then you are likely to have prostate cancer. However, it doesn't say that it's only prostate cancer that can cause the PSA to rise. Even BPH can do that. So it's important that other tests are done to be able to ascertain whether it's cancer or not. So the PSA will be done, and also there's another test called digital rectal exam. And this is the test that is done, a finger is placed into the anus through the rectum to be able to feel how big the prostate is. And this test is very uncomfortable, and most men are usually scared to go for screening or for testing for prostate cancer because they do not want to experience the discomfort of this test. But it's important that this test is done in the hospital for them to be able to know whether the prostate is bigger in size and how big is it really. So because of the position of the prostate where it is, it's usually located very close to the rectum, so it's easy to feel the prostate through the rectal area. So that's another screening test that can be done to check whether the prostate is bigger in size than normal. Then the other thing that can be done is that you can do an ultrasound, even though it's not very specific, because it might not really show very well how big the prostate is. But one test that can be done, another test is an MRI that can show how the prostate is in relation to other organs in the stomach or in the pelvis. So those are some of the tests that can be done. So the other thing that needs to be done is a biopsy. And when the biopsy is done, it can help to check how the cells are looking in the prostate. So they get a small piece or a small portion of the prostate, just a very, very small portion, whether through a needle. So it helps to show exactly what type of cells are there in the prostate, and are these cells cancerous or not. So if the cells are cancerous, it would also help to stage what stage are they, what stage of the cancer is it. So it will help with the treatment as well, because when the stage is known, to say it's at this stage, then it would help to say, okay, we need to use this type of treatment to treat this prostate cancer. So it's important that you go for screening. For men who are the age of 40 and above, you need to start screening early, especially if you have a family history of cancer, whether it's prostate cancer or any other cancer in the family, then you need to start your screening very early. But for people who are 65 years and above, then it's mandatory for them to start their screening as well, because they're more likely to have prostate cancer. So that is how prostate cancer can be diagnosed in the hospital. And there are so many treatments, not really a lot of treatment options, but there are some treatment options that can be used to treat prostate cancer. So one of them is that depending on the staging or the stage at which the cancer is at, the prostate can be removed, and that is a surgical procedure where the prostate is removed, and thereafter, you can have other therapies like radiation therapy, which can help to kill all the other cancer cells that may be present. Then radiotherapy can be used on its own without doing surgery if the cancer hasn't really spread so much. So you can have radiation therapy alone, where the cells are shrinked to the normal size of the prostate. So it helps to shrink the cells and to also kill the cancerous cells. So those are some of the treatment options that are there for people who have prostate cancer. They might also have other therapies like hormonal therapy, which is not very common, but it can also be done where you're given certain medications that can increase certain hormones in the body to be able to shrink the cancer and to kill some cancer cells. So those are the treatment options that are there for people who have prostate cancer. So today we are learning that prostate cancer can be diagnosed, and it can be treated as well through certain treatment options that are there. So you need to get your screening. You need to go for screening. As for all men, you are all encouraged to go for prostate cancer screening, and we've learned how the screening is done. It's not only the digital rectal exam, which is a DRE, but also a test can be done to be able to ascertain whether you have cancer or not, and even other tests like MRI or ultrasound can be done to show whether you have cancer and at what stage the cancer is at. So today we also learned that you can treat prostate cancer through radiation therapy and also through surgical procedures where the prostate is removed based on the staging. So it's important for you to get screened so that you don't go to the hospital only after the cancer has spread so much or has gone to other parts of the body. So that is how you can get screened for prostate cancer. Thank you for watching.
There you have it. The question is, have you gone for prostate cancer screening? Rather, it's quite an important topic we've been looking at, Shalom and I had a conversation yesterday about this and the need for a last layer to go and check for prostate cancer. We are used to cervical cancer because it's been topical. And when we talk about prostate cancer, men tend to shun. They're not even aware that they need to take.
It's uncomfortable. I can imagine.
to take care of themselves.
I can imagine.
Yeah. So, but this is quite an important issue, and you were encouraging me and other men here to just do that, and we have to make sure that we are proactive in terms of health. Indeed. There is no way we're going to be promoting a health segment on Camnet, and we do not follow suit. So we have to lead by example and making sure that we take advice from the doctor serious there. That's Dr. Mufaya. She has been focusing on cancer for this week, prostate cancer to be precise. It only affects men.
Indeed, let's look at how the kwacha is faring. It's been ballooning for the past few days, and let's look at it now.
Yes, so $1 is buying at 18 kwacha 9 fongwe and selling at 19 kwacha 31 ngwe. The euro is buying at 20 kwacha 6 fongwe and selling at 21 kwacha 05 ngwe. The South African rand is buying at 1 kwacha 10 ngwe and selling at 1 kwacha 12 ngwe. Then we are seeing the British pound buying at 23 kwacha 37 ngwe and selling at 23 kwacha 83 ngwe. Those are your money market, and it's just a reflection of how the kwacha has been performing against other major convertibles, and looking at how it has been performing against the US dollar, which is the miller, especially for the Zambian currency, in that we trade more using the dollar. It is reflecting that it has been on a depreciation side, and we just hope that we can go back to the range when we were at 16. At some point, we had 15. And
people were excited.
Yeah, it was exciting and regrettable enough. Sharon missed her opportunity to get her beats. But we still hope that it will get better again, so that hopefully you can have
it will get better. We are hopeful. We remain hopeful to our kwacha appreciating.
Yeah. And, you just have to be optimistic.
Yes, indeed. In case you're just joining us, you are watching the Camnet Breakfast with me, Sharon Kalimbola, and Patrick Soko on the other chair. You too can have a say on what we are discussing this morning. We asked earlier when we just opened the show how the weather is in your locality. In Lusaka, it's raining heavily, and we want to advise you to just keep safe, keep warm. Don't move around because you don't even know where the drain is, because Mulusaka ya recover. You know, the roads are flooded such that even the drainages are just full to capacity. Yes,
you know, so it's difficult to detect where the road is,
where the drain is. So we don't want you to plunge into that drainage. We just want you to be careful, safe, so that you keep watching. In case you are not feeling the weather, tune into Camnet TV and let's get talking. Let's get chatting. However, let's look at some of the stories, Patrick, that made headlines as of yesterday. Consumer Association of Zambia, Zaka, Executive Director Juba Sakala, says the availability of Rolami is a challenge, as it is rarely available in most markets. In an interview with Camnet News, Mr. Sakala notes the advice given to the Zambian people by Vice President Mutale Nalumango that people should resort to Rolami if breakfast meal is expensive for them recently is okay, but that the commodity is not readily available as perceived. He says this is because most millers prefer milling breakfast compared to roller mill due to demand ratios. He has since called on government to make milling meal available for everyone to be able to afford. Patrick, this has been very topical from the time that the Vice President was cleaning the Central Business District.
Yes, it has been a topical issue.
It's been a topical issue. She said if you cannot afford to buy breakfast meal, you should resort to roller meal because it's about a bit less than breakfast meal. But then others have also said it deprives people of the ability to choose what they want. When you're directing people to do certain things because they can't afford, what you have to do is to make the commodity prices affordable so that people decide what they want to eat.
Do you know the funny part? People were also suggesting that government is encouraging us to consume more power because cooking using roller mill consumes more electricity because you just can't have it like breakfast.
Yes,
so so even if you are using a brazier, so it's the same thing. You have to consume more charcoal compared to when you are using a breakfast. That was another concern that just emerged, especially on the social media circles. People trying to highlight these
to bring in that. It's quite okay. You know, people, the opinions are okay, and people, it actually shows that people are thinking beyond and outside the box, which is very good, and we want such healthy debates, you know. People need to be thinking. But Isaac, help us play this story, and let's look at it and see what the Consumer Association of Zambia had to say on this advice. I don't want to call it directive. I think it's advice.
Advice, yes.
The high cost of milling meal and a statement by Vice President Mutale Nalumango, the need for Zambia to switch to roller meal, which slide lower than breakfast, including nutrition values. The United Party for National Development, UPND, has come under scrutiny from its critics who feel the administration has failed to uphold the promise to make Zambia staple food cheaper. We spoke to some Lusaka residents in random interviews. Others say breakfast and roller meals do not differ much in terms of price and urge the UPND to stop emulating the PF, which has suggested that Zambians migrate to eating sweet potatoes as a substitute for bread.
kufa vya mashu ya kwalisa no mwafurisha tufure tule afurishanya chebo cha kwalisa chawe batumule afurishanya kwa hiyo kuna mwafurisha nimekuna takuwa do chakula tabuli chakula kuna mwafurisha amashu wiye amashu ya kwalisa tefyo yo konse filo endera buyo bukulya na mkumfu amashu lero muntu ala ngufundisha buyo use kuli kandolo yintu imo ine mwachitelepo kwa jawe tenta abantu bali ya kandolo lero futi mwaye bati kandolo ibi bwino na ngulo musaku na ngula fili komanga file fula no mata file fula awe tafifulire mu background tafifulire tu ayo kuno tafile moneke tu ayo bati atiyala chati mapesa na ngufi.
Zambia Consumers Association Executive Secretary Juba Sakala calls on government to make mealie meal affordable and available for Zambians.
It's not very common in the sense that the millers, they would prefer to make breakfast because it fetches more money than buying. So it's not available in most of the shops. That's what I can say. Because if you go down the townships, you find that most of them only stock breakfast. That's the issue. So the availability is also a challenge in terms of roller meal because the millers themselves do not mill roller. They would prefer breakfast because it fetches more money. Exactly. Even those retailers themselves, they would prefer to get breakfast because it fetches more. If you get roller, it's quite cheaper, and not necessarily cheaper, should I say. Few people will come for it. See what I mean? Huh? Few people come for it. You might have 10 bags, but it take time to finish. So you'd rather get something that is, going. You need a quick turnover. So you prefer something that will give you enough profit. So as you have gone around, you can even see most of the shops, I can assure you, they do not have that value.
Notably, the government has been putting in place modalities through the Food Reserve Agency, ZRA, by making maize available to millers in order to reduce the price of maize meal. Sampa Mlenda reporting for Camnet TV News in Lusaka.
The German International Cooperation for Economic Development, GIZ, under Accelerate Water and Agricultural Resources Efficiency, is changing the narrative of rainwater wastage by helping farmers with the skills of harvesting it for their livestock and crops in Mumbo district of Central Province. Richard Dedricks, a small-scale farmer of Mlendema Chiefdom, has adopted the technology.
Kulesa soil erosion and then futi na kufaka manure. And then chipeze kakuti ngati wemwine wa vipanga wachita adopt monga mwena chita adopt na vitenga na viona kuti vili bwino na panga mukati kamunda wanga. So naona kuti ka drought akenzeri kwaka ine napeze kati ine munda wanga milisi yanga yone katabe bwino ndaba ipeze katati moisture ipeze kati liko pansi. So ndiye mweta punzira monga mu nchito iyi kuti evintu vatipu vivile kuti punza vintu vambiri maningi pa first tenzeri be knowledge kuti tiziwe mosungira manzi kuti Zambo yagwira bwanyi ndaba muone manzi yagwera muno monga mwatu Mzambia akagwa muno azaenda gwera mu kafiwe river apeleka Mzambezi kapeleka Mzambezi na embe Zambezi apeleka kuma oceans. So it means that manzi yatu ajaletufuna tisebenzese bane baenda kuyuzinga ni bazungu kutali kuja.
Dr. Tina Teodros is GIZ Hydrogeo Smart Team Leader, who narrates that the technology helps in the reduction of soil erosion, thereby increasing the water table.
It will improve the groundwater potential so that there is a lot of water in the groundwater, so their water supply wells will be improved. That means sustainable groundwater recharge will be achieved, and our river systems can also flow permanently year to year, because there are some temporary rivers drying up because of the degradation of the land. So no erosion, or it reduces some erosion, level of erosion, so the topsoil cannot be eroded and washed away. They can also conserve. So the benefits of, in general, the benefits of integrated watershed management is.
The team leaders further commended the small-scale farmers in the district for implementing the technology.
You can see in most of the areas, still there is water in trench, harvested a lot of water. The springs are, even the groundwater level is very high now. So it's really very good, and they saw already the benefits, and the good thing is they also multiply. Actually, the one we trained them, they also trained their neighborhoods and their others, and it's introduced actually now.
Matthias Chewe, Camnet TV News, Mumbua.
Welcome back. You are still watching the Camnet Breakfast Show, governance, policy and politics. And we were just zooming in some of the stories that were making the headlines on the Camnet TV main news. So that was an interesting story pertaining to Mumbwa and that other story on mini meal prices. It has been topical, considering that, like you earlier put it, people were suggesting that the UPND is trying to copy what the PF
because you remember the Kandolo season?
Yes, when people said the price of bread was too high.
You resort to sweet potatoes, and they're likening this statement of the Vice President now to that which was issued that time. So we're not sure whether it's the timing that is bad or the advice is bad or whatever, but bottom line here, other stakeholders have said it actually deprives people of a choice. The best thing that government can do is just to put prices of these commodities, especially the staple food that is shima, mealie meal, to be very reasonable for most people to afford. You know, people cannot, they don't take shima as a luxury. Most Zambian people, you know, they don't take shima as a luxury. They would have 2 shima meals a day, like lunch and supper, dinner, you call it, however. But they would have twice a day shima. Others actually even have shima 3 times. You know, when they wake up in the morning, they want shima. In the afternoon, they want shima. In the evening, they want shima. So really, it's not a luxury. It's something that's supposed to be a must. And when something is a must, it has to be affordable.
Yeah, and why people most of the time, why shima is the staple food, is that it is manageable. Yeah. Because if you have a bag of meal, it's easy. You cook your shima. You can find some leadership, like even carpenter yankwangwa, you know, that kind of arrangement.
Especially
you can even do msalu ushkwete salad, you understand?
And you eat
and the day goes. So it's easy to eat something when you have a bag of mini meal. No wonder it has remained Zambia's staple food, because it's easy to plan around it. You just need to cook your shima, because you don't need the ingredients you need is just water to have your shima. And make sure, you don't need to add more things to just make it complicated. No, that's why it remains Zambia's staple food. And talking about the staple food, there has been also suggestions that we also look at other things like rice and wheat in terms of as we diversify our staple food. But that is a long-term process for people to just adjust to rice, because I know of people like Mr. Chilela who would make sure that if they eat rice, they will tell you to say, I've not eaten at all.
Exactly, I've not eten. But they always complain.
They would complain.
On the Friday meal, where we have rice on Fridays.
So they will tell you, say, no, I still need shima. You know, I still need shima. Atumwa many pamal. Those arrangements, you understand?
What that means.
So if you look at it, so it calls for concerted efforts for us to ensure that we just make sure that the staple food is, in terms of the price, is stabilized, because it helps many households. Because mini meal is not segregative; it is both for the poor and the rich. So it's quite an important commodity in the house. So if in case you want to also give us your perspective on the stories we are zooming in, you can do so by giving us a call on the number that is on the screen, so that we can get interacting and get the conversation going around topical issues. Today we are just also discussing the same topic like as yesterday, prescribing solutions to Zambia's social and economic problems. So you, our dear viewers, can suggest how you want things to go, how things should be governed. In terms of providing solutions, we don't have to be on a blame game arrangement, but we have to make sure that we find solutions. We talk about the problem, but we also seek to address the root cause. And let's also zoom in another story on the political side, where the advocates for People's Prosperity President Mwenyamusenge has charged that the United Party for National Development government has become unpopular a year of being in office for allegedly failing to alleviate people's suffering. So let's get to listen to that story. We'll be back on the other side. In recent weeks, the country had been hit with a cosmetic fuel shortage allegedly engineered by oil marketing companies in anticipation of higher fuel prices, and their intelligence was accurate as the Energy Regulation Board, ERB, adjusted upwards the fuel pump price by about 2 kwacha 50 ngwe, a move that has annoyed many Zambians who have been lamenting about the high commodity prices, especially meal, power cuts, and the depreciation of the kwacha, thus forming a conjunction of economic worries. President Hakainde Hichilema, when he took over office, did acknowledge that rebuilding the economy was not going to be easy and that he was ready to make the tough decisions. But advocates for People's Prosperity President Mwenyamusenge believes that the United Party for National Development government has become unpopular for allegedly failing to alleviate the problems affecting many Zambians.
Our colleagues, the UPND government, have become so unpopular in less than 1 year, 6 months. And there's literally nobody that is saying anything good about them. When you look at the increase of fuel, it is, stressing the community, those the motorists, and not only the motorists, also those who are in production. And we are talking at 30 kwacha, close to 30 kwacha. When our colleagues came into government, they were promised that the price of fuel was going to reduce, the price of minimum was going to reduce, even the dollar was going to come down.
But UPND Lusaka Province Deputy Youth Spokesperson Phineas Pomulo does not agree with Mr. Msenge's view, saying President Hichilema and his administration are doing everything possible to make the economy better.
Moved in and we have made sure that the price of new milk, it is now slowly being stabilized. Those who are claiming that the new joint government have not done enough, I think, it's politics as usual, but reality must be told. Every rain season, even in previous administrations, every rain season we find that the commodity of rice, the commodity of meal, it always skyrockets during the rain season. But the government have moved in, they have made sure that they have offloaded maize and they have given the millers so that they stabilize the price of meal commodity.
Patrick Soko, Camnet News. The subject of political cadres resurfacing in markets and bus stations and going back to the bad old days has been topical in the country. Not only in bus stations, but bus stops in most communities, cowboys have been spotted collecting money from motorists. The move prompted the Southern Africa Center for the Constructive Resolution of Disputes, SACOD, to ask the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development to investigate the purported redeployment of political cadres in public facilities. Many have wondered whether or not cadres misinterpreted the directive by senior government officials that cadres can trade in public facilities but not take over the duties of the council. And Patriotic Front presidential hopeful Mutotwe Kafwaya holds the opinion that the UPND has reformed cadreism and made it worse than it was under PF.
There's actually more cadreism now than there was in the past, because the cadreism that you saw in the past was just the superficial cadreism in markets and bus stops and so on. But what you have now, cadreism is there in the markets, okay? It is there in the markets. In case you haven't seen Honorable Gary Nkombo, arguing with his supporters at one market in Matero, it's a problem. But also, cadreism has been escalated now to include cadres in institutions of governance. So that is a big problem. I think UPND should simply stop talking about saying they have ended cadreism. Instead, they have actually transformed cadreism to make it more dangerous than it was.
But United Party for National Development, National Youth Chairman, Mobilization and Politics, Trevor Mwinde, has dispelled the claims, further stating that the party does not endorse acts of impunity.
We have had the offices that which were operated by the opposition, and they still want to continue mobilizing and masquerading as UPND in the market, whilst doing wrong things to the citizens. And as such, we are removing such elements. And when we remove such elements, we are not doing it on the basis of selective agenda of trying to silence the opposition or anything. We want every other Zambian to benefit from the business and the market cake of this country. But to those that want to bring in an agenda of cadarism, we will be able to flush them out. And when such happens, we don't care. We will not be careful enough to also pay attention who they are related to and who they are connected to. This one is to make sure that we stay focused on the agenda, the campaign promises that which we made to the Zambian people.
However, historically, acts of lawlessness in markets and bus stations have tended to expose the weakness of local authorities in enforcing their mandate in line with the tenets of an orderly society. Patrick Soko, Camnet News. Welcome back. There you have it, stories there on the political fraternity. Mr. Mwenya Msenge and his new political party is back.
He's back and offering checks and balances. But you know what shocks me? Like when we had him yesterday, and the question I asked him was like, why did you have to form your own political party? I think these people are also hungry for positions. I don't think politics is just about a leadership per se. Yeah. People want titles.
Yeah, interesting. And I'm privy to some information that there's going to be quite some stiff measures through the registrar of societies, in that political parties will be compelled to have branches, and branches have to be registered.
Yeah.
So
because
now,
really,
now
you cannot have political parties on paper, and they are nowhere else seen on the ground, as they call it themselves, say, backgrounds, you know, things like that.
So those political parties where we have Sharon Karimbula as the president, the spokesperson,
and everything, EEP,
may likely to go into oblivion.
Yeah, anyway,
because, I think, but I think we just took too long, because it is not necessary for us to have too many political parties that are not adding up to the country's democracy, where they have no structure on the ground. They cannot even provide competition to the governing or the major opposition political party.
Form an NGO.
Yeah, so you are right. You can form an NGO and not necessarily a political party.
You don't necessarily to have a political party.
You should have a voice on the ground as a political party, not just waking up in the morning, I'm a president of this.
And you start making noise, start insulting the presidency, you start offering none, what can I call them, you know? None checks and balances, you know? You're just using that name of being opposition leader to insult, to instigate fear, to just instigate violence. And I think that is going to help in a way, because we really don't want to go that road. We don't want to go that route. The duty of an opposition political party, Patrick, is to offer credible checks and balances, which the ruling party may be able to pick up and implement. But then if your call or your duty is not understood by yourself, that means you're going to help in misleading the nation.
Yeah, you're right.
And we don't want that. I don't think people have to start fighting for independence once more. It's not necessary. We need to move towards the direction of development and not going back to fight. You know?
Yeah, so if you see everything that has been happening, that has been affecting the nation, it is courtesy of politicians. The irresponsibility amongst politicians is behind issues pertaining to tribalism. The irresponsibility among politicians to provide credible checks and balances is behind probably even the misgovernance that may be perceived. Because honestly, if you're keeping people in check and providing serious solutions, there is no way they should be adamant and not listen to you. Because at the end of the day, governance is about us developing Zambia. It's not about which political party taking over to run the affairs of the country. You know, at the end of the day, you may be in opposition, but you don't want to govern a country that is unmanageable. So we need to make sure that we do that collectively. We pick that call.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Soko.
Yes, good morning, sir.
After a long time, you are gone somewhere?
We are around. You are...
Okay, we have been working with the Deborah and the other person.
Oh, Madam Kaemba.
Yes, yes.
Interesting.
But your opponent is who?
Sharon. Yes.
That's your opponent.
How are you?
Fine, sir. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm very from Chilanga.
No, you are welcome, Anonymous.
Thank you.
It's been a while.
Yeah, this is a very nice program. At the UPND, as the government, with a lot of promises, they have literally failed. Because when you look at the statements coming from these mobilization persons, those are not supposed to contribute on the heavy national issues which are affecting the country. In terms of Miu, we have the Minister of Agriculture. Where is he? He has failed to coordinate on the distribution of leadership. Now is completely quiet. We have the Vice Chairman of the National Mobilization trying to mobilize and cheating people. That is not good. You know, sometimes let these people understand and accept that we have written them. Because no one is unable to see what is happening. Fuel, it has just been increased. Vesco tariffs, they are increasing. And the capitalism is there. Last week I was asking in the forum that when you were at this market, Qatar nearly harassed you. So when they said there are no Qatars in the market, who are those? When they want to defend themselves, they will say, no, those are PF. They are trying to wear the UPND t-shirts. But now they are clever. They are not putting on UPND t-shirts, neither putting on PF t-shirts, because they know that they are failed completely. So what is important is, yesterday I was watching the Patriot Front Secretary General, Mr. Nixon Chirangwa, on Diamond TV. Same complaints. People are suffering on the ground. And if it is to conduct a random survey now, UPND elections can come tomorrow. McDonald Spence will fail to count the ballot papers for the opposition because it's really tough. So let's see. And the vice president was even saying it's better to buy Laura Meal than buying great pie. What kind of a speech is that? Is that a correct way of doing things? Laura Meal is not there. And is she going to give money to everyone to buy Laura Meal? That is cheap contribution and trying to sort out the solution. She's not supposed to say that. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Anonymous.
So much, Mr. Anonymous from Chilanga there.
Yeah, it's been a while.
We are happy to hear from you. We're so happy to hear from you. You're always welcome to give your perspective on important national issues. Your voice is valued in as much as everyone else's. However, you too can have your say on the conversation we are having this morning. Many things have happened in the country.
Yes.
And just have your voice on this. Have your say. Don't be too quiet. Don't complain. As always, people would say, don't stay away from voting because you are aiding to put the wrong people in office. So you get up from your chair, you go and cast that vote. But did you do the right thing? Is the question that you're supposed to be answering. I'm not asking you to call us and answer that question.
Yeah.
But you can call us and give us your perspective on how things are happening. We have another caller.
You are through to the Camnet Breakfast Show. Good morning.
Morning. How are you?
Fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm good.
Your name and where you're calling us
from?
I'm calling Kitwe and my name is Suzuki.
All right. Go ahead with your contribution.
The current situation is not so favorable, especially to us as the consumers or the common people. Because just yesterday, the bill was linked to about the two processes in there. That's a very big blow. Then when I was just going to drop my kids at school, I saw a lot of people that now, they're just walking now, start walking from compounds to town on foot because of the issue of fuel. which has really affected us a lot. And we are expecting maybe the prices of commodities like milk is really too high. Okay, so our colleagues, they actually have no plan for this country. That's what I feel, because you can even hear from their opponents. One year, like months, they still maybe give. Just recently on the paper, I was reading what they were saying. The millions are here. You know, so everything, it's more like they think, but they're still in the system, but or that's affected. But that's not what we expect from them, because they're the ones with the powers. How can TFC be controlling things? Where, okay, or common, like you, so then you have to, your XP was the rich teacher, so me at least I'm no, come on. They have different skills to control things. The economy, the guest was talking about, he has written skills to control the economy, because you cannot have fulfill adjustments every month and expect the economy to be stable. You can't. Some of us want to done economy. You need to stabilize things, the practice of community. If you, for example, want to put your 40 quads, let me put 40 quads, what we get used at least stable.
Yeah.
Then this month, it goes by one quarter. The next month, it will increase by 2 quarters can wait. How are we going to survive? So they are still. We told some window, just like to say. But deep down the body knows that things are not good. Okay? So the points like the free education. What I will say is a good point, but it doesn't be related accordingly. You cannot start employing teachers in the rural areas where you haven't been doing any accommodations for them, enough classrooms for them, and enough desks for the kids, or for the students. You can't. That also employ health workers where they are not making work together. They are not making in the hospitals. So those health workers who are to be employed, what are they doing there? So they just get services for free. So they're not making. So all these things, you are just doing it maybe probably to try to, sugarcoating, what you call in Mexico, scamming people, you just sugarcoating, trying to move goods on this side, this side, nothing, which is no. It's a problem. I'm here in Patagon School. I've never seen any project with the CDS have increased. So what is the CDS? Who does the CDS? Because where the people in the ground, where the people in the construction. CDS is 5 million can be, distributed to Patagon School. Some of us will be here, at least in our government with the project. So all those things are just on paper. So it's a scam. In short, I would say this government, they are scammers. Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. You too can have your say on this important conversation. Quite a lengthy contribution there.
Yeah.
And very important submission and observations made. What is happening in your locality? We want to hear from you. He has mentioned to say he has not seen any CDF projects in Kwacha constituency. Kwacha constituency is formerly for Joseph Malanji, and maybe it's because of the hiccup. I'm not trying to defend,
but there's a new MP now.
There's a new MP. Do the people know this member of parliament, or did they just vote because it was from this political
when he was
party?
voted, has he been on the ground?
Has he been on the ground to see what is happening there? Has he even been oriented? Because in our wonder.
But as
like
well
they don't even know what they're supposed to do as members of parliament. Some
are still amateurs.
They're literally blank.
But I was also, when he was talking about, I haven't seen any project in Kwacha. I was trying to also process if at all I've seen any project in Chawama, but I have to follow up.
You have to follow up. Let's pick this call and talk to our viewer. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Fine,
fine, thank you. Your name and where you're calling from?
I'm Camnet. I'm calling from the
All right, go ahead with your contribution.
The contribution is about the partnership Please give them time. That's what compared to those who have for 10 years. 10 years of problem.
Fathers were treating people anyhow. But this time, the president who is there as a position, he has told the nation that the student of the but in the party team, they never brought their fathers to get child. Question of problem, but the president here is strict with the work of the people. I'm not candidate and communist, the others like Japan, the Java, and the as a parent. Junga California, and a lot of fun, there are as a parent, you go out and they find something for Japan, here is the president, after you have taken a better job, you have just any just because of that, you have another job, he's going around telling some people for the shooter. Then somebody says, opposition of people are passed about the so the America is not here. You are talking about the America. Here, we want to talk about the so family shows a family school. That's where what is happening in as the things are going to be better. And you with the UPNC just 3-4 years. The first year is the government was the government. They are
strategy.
After the year, you get the next people will say 3 years or the 4th year, things will be okay, things will be okay. National safety, they are there after the Beriamo, that is also that Beriamo, what we back up, but more meaning, it wasn't without feedback, the opinion is not all things are now going, before the announcement to get the if they back in the city and one of the and one better of the great and get of school. That you could not put it for the Russia, so there's a whole lot of people. You get something not to the people that you can't talk about when you're free to get it. But you come back to the policy. How could I get better at least to take it out? But the 7 days of campaign, very for 6 campaign. And that the group is that you take that, but when they have one of that's your campaign is very for 6. No, we don't want.
All right.
Interesting. Thank you very
so
much.
much, Livingston. They're representing. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, like we've been saying that every opinion counts,
Exactly.
and you can read our topic of discussion for this morning is prescribing solutions to Zambia's social and economic problems. It is you, our dear viewers, who are giving your perspectives on the situation on the ground, on how you are observing various government policies. We've been talking about positives and negatives. Those who are commenting about the positives and the negatives, all opinions count on the Camnet Breakfast Show, and we are looking at the aspect of solutions and prescribing them. And looking at the topical matters have been the aspect of the monthly review of fuel prices, which led to an increase in the price of fuel. We also had the issue that of mealie meal that has been topical, in that mealie meal there's been a shortage of mealie meal in some areas, and the price has been too high beyond the reach of many Zambians. We also have been facing the issues pertaining to cadarism, where the stakeholders have been questioning whether cadres have been redeployed in markets and bus stations. We have been questioning the issue of the kwacha volatility, in that the kwacha has continued to lose value, and various stakeholders continue to give us their perspective.
Indeed.
This is your program, and your opinion counts.
Let's pick this call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, madam.
How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Your name and where you're calling from?
My name is Francis.
You're calling from? Mufulira.
You
Okay.
can go ahead.
Go ahead with your contribution.
Can you allow me
Your line is not very clear.
Can you allow me to
Yes, that's fine. That's
We are
fine.
Zambians.
Go ahead, and whatever language I'm sure 1 or 2 people will be able to pick it.
In the end, King Khalifa, 25 days, one in the best. The price ran out of the king. Just 5 days,
Oh, the line is
the
bad.
line is bad.
Just go back so that we can have a conversation. I think the line was breaking there. You can just make sure that you go back and be in a position where you have clear network coverage.
Indeed,
it will be easier to communicate.
We want to hear what you want to say in that our mother tongue. We want to understand, at least this also helps to know and understand people's feelings towards what is happening in the country. Very important.
No,
very important. No, I do that. You know that.
It's okay, you know. It's like you come maningi chizungu and you are restricting people.
Patrick, I think you and I are one of the people that actually respond to local languages more on the show. Though you are no. Let's speak this. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you, sir? We are permanently blessed.
Thank you very much.
Oh,
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Go ahead with your contribution, Rev.
Yes, indeed. First of all, we go to the fore and we're very quick and important. But at the same time, it's important as well to, I think, go back to where we came from. For me, I think the essence of, the not achieving assessment after, the read that the flow of policy. I think that has done a little bit of business. I think how the technocrat and trademark the word technocrat, I think I understood to the public. One of the things that I need to bring up with the audience and the public is the fact that some of the resources that are currently, they are not there yet before you. For example, now we introduce the project. Okay, this is a resource that is not at the disposal of the national focus. But now we have the ability to have these particular resources. And it's very important. The question is, how do we manage our resources in the first place? Because when you talk about all things today, high cost of living has to do with project management. And I think the new administration has come with this particular campaign of project management. But I don't see it for now, because in this our national company that's successful, we still are thinking about the implement of charities and competitive, charities and all those things. The first question that we should be able to, I think, address, or rather ask and resolve is actually the key. How are we managing, first of all, this particular company in terms of human resources, in terms of public spending? For me, I think there's been an abuse, and there's also been, this work across, the public sector. And I think it's time that we begin to look at it. First of all, how are we managing this public sector? Whether I think for the last 2 years, if my memory serves me right, as four beyond target. How are we managing all this research? Then we are, producing our own, step of food, we've been producing, for the longest period of time, over the years. But we still, grapple with, managing this research in terms of prices and also in terms of, ensuring that we are good to feel as a country. When we talk about it, oil, we all have to use these issues, the international prices and also, the issues that, the holding of our structure and those things as major factors, why, there's an increase, in the CO1 price.
are all people for me that require our people who are the producers to really do it for the country. Because the narrative is victorious and it's not been practical. So for me, the step right now is for us also to do a proper, forensic audit of our public service in terms of, the workplace and in terms of also how we are managing our resources that are collected at various times. ZRA, the RD, what is the International World Fund? Yes, how are we managing this resources? And it comes to just for how are we also managing this particularly, which is very, very workful. That we look into this issue. Let's not do this. I think time has come to give us let us get down to the bottom of it. Because there is a way in terms of how our finances are being managed.
Yeah.
And this has caused also this eventually to how the economy is at the current step when it comes to pricing and all these things. So for me, this is my contribution. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much, Reverend Manduli, there, giving us a long perspective of how things are and why they are in this particular manner. Hopefully, the authorities are watching and listening to all this very important advice that have been sent forward from various callers that have taken their time off their comfort zones to just call and have a conversation with us on this important. You too can have your say. Of course, we are almost in the dying minutes, but we are still here for the next 5-6 minutes, and you can be one of those last callers by calling, dialing the numbers that are on your screen, and give us your perspective.
Interesting. I did pick some of the few things that Reverend Mandoli is bringing out. Key among them is the need for us to conduct a forensic audit of public institutions and service provision, so that we understand. Then that would also help us in terms of how we come up with the pricing model. When you look at ZESCO, the story that has been prominent has been that ZESCO makes losses. But for me, I think I've tended to disagree with that. But we have to quantify that with figures. So it's something we need to pay attention to. We're considering that if every entity pays to ZESCO.
Exactly.
Every institution that is just accessing electricity is paying to ZESCO.
How much losses are they making?
Yes, so for the...
And why are they making losses?
Yes, and for the record, ZESCO is not even subsidizing the local authorities, in that the council, for instance, if they are having street rights, they have to pay for those street rights. And ZESCO is not in any way doing any corporate social responsibility to just make sure that we are powering this street
for free
because of national security, because it's a national institution. And the argument that has also been put forth by experts is that ZESCO is a company that is owned by Zambians. So there's no way that company should not be benefiting Zambians. So Zambians are paying taxes, so this company should save
so they can benefit.
So they can benefit. Now, if we're going to migrate to cost-effective tariffs, is there going to be a need for us to have ZESCO as our entity as the public?
Or should we
just give it away to the private sector? Because for me, that is an indirect way of giving ZESCO to the private sector, because the private sector can become dominant and powerful. And now they start controlling the electricity industry. Now, what sector are we going to control? Now, looking at the other aspect that comes into the picture is that we had stories of oil marketing companies being accused of holding on to fuel because they were anticipating a fuel increase, so that they make abnormal profit, considering that they had bought the fuel at a reduced price. Now that for this month, the stock will be bought at a higher price. Now, if you're going, this is because we have left the running of the fuel industry to the private sector, and the government has no hand. So now, if the oil marketing companies connive to disadvantage the country in terms of access to fuel, what happens to the rest of the country? Are we going to go into a crisis? I think that's why there was that government involvement in the procurement of fuel to ensure that we have enough reserves and that we are not also twisted by those other players who are in the sector. Now, if we also leave
of Local Government Permanent Secretary for Administration, Mambo Hamaundu, says government has made progress with stakeholders' consultations regarding the removal of street vendors from Lusaka's Central Business District. In an exclusive interview with Camnet TV, Mr. Hamaundu says discussions have been held with business sectors, civic leaders and church mother bodies, with the marketers trading from the streets to be involved soon. Mr. Hamaundu has urged the Lusaka City Council to take practical steps in the maintenance of sanitation in the Central Business District as they await for the vendors to be removed. He has meanwhile appealed to the traders to acquire trading licenses and move into designated trading areas such as the Lusaka City Market. Let's look at this story. When we return, we can pick one last call and close.
The streets of Lusaka's Central Business District, CBD, have been a trading place for many years by the vendors who persistently defied the order to vacate the streets. Vending has, however, led to poor sanitation challenges in the city. Now that Zambia is facing a cholera outbreak, others have suggested that street vending must be curtailed by taking people to designated trading places to help keep the area clean and avert waterborne diseases. Last month, the Vice President Mutalena Lumango led stakeholders in a revived cleaning campaign, although the CBD remains dirty. However, after the directive by the President that stakeholders be consulted regarding the removal of street vendors from the streets, Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development Permanent Secretary Mambo Hamaundu says the ministry has made significant progress on stakeholder consultations.
Significant progress. We've engaged the church mother bodies, we've spoken to the civic leaders, we've engaged some NGOs, we've also carried out some consultation with one or two stakeholders in terms of in the business sector, and we continue engaging. We still have a church or two which we need to engage. We still want to see if we could speak to the vendors themselves, and then after that we wrap it up and chart a way forward in terms of the street vending situation.
He says that with the threat of cholera, the ministry has urged the council to take practical steps in order to ensure that high levels of hygiene are maintained in Lusaka and the CBD.
So with the threat of cholera having come on board, we've actually spoken to the councils to ensure that they take practical steps to avoid an outbreak of cholera. And that entails that reasonably high levels of hygiene must be maintained across the city, particularly in Lusaka CBD. We need to have a very sanitary environment. So we did go around and have spoken or engaged with a number of people on the need for hygiene, and you will actually begin to see a number of activities.
Tris Chabaya, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Well, there you have it, quite an interesting story there from the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development Permanent Secretary, Mr. Mambo Hamaundu. He has been available for interviews and giving updates on various issues happening in the Ministry of Local Government, especially pertaining to the Constituency Development Fund, CDF. He has been providing timely information on that subject as well. And quite an interesting story on vendors. It has been with us for a long time as a country, the issue of street vending. Indeed. And we have the cholera outbreak. And if it is not well managed, we may see it worsen, like it has affected Malawi in various cities. Exactly. And we have been privy to that international news that Malawi there has been affected. And Zambia, through Vubwi, is equally affected. So let's pick this call.
Last call, I'm hoping. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Madam.
Fine, thank you.
My name is
But banani kani foni yenu yota ile ufika bwino muri pesa muri pitana.
Yes, right.
But na papa neta ile ufika bwino. Can hardly hear you, and we really wanted. I know how much you wanted to contribute in this program, and we also wanted to hear your views, and we surely hope you can try again tomorrow, because we are closing the show. That's all.
Exactly. Yeah, you've been watching the Camnet Breakfast Show, Thursday edition, governance and policy as well as politics. And we've been talking about various stories that were making the headlines and prescribing solutions to Zambia's social and economic challenges. Quite a number of views came through our callers, and we value your contribution and support to the Camnet Breakfast Show. We exist because of your viewership, and we do not take that for granted.
Indeed, Patrick, thank you so much for choosing Camnet TV. Remember to ensure that you observe first the COVID-19 health guidelines. It's showing a bit of a comeback, and also the cholera outbreak that was just announced by the Minister of Health, Silva Masebo, there, that we have it in the country, and ensure that you take care of yourselves, boil your water, chlorinate it, eat warm food, cover your food, and ensure that the toddlers are safe as they go to school, because you know they want to eat here and there.
Exactly.
Just give them this timely information. Say you need to eat healthy, you need to eat warm food. Take lunch for them. Don't pack it in the morning, so at the time they're reaching lunch it's cold. Take it for them while it's still hot during lunchtime hours. I think it's important to avoid these unnecessary situations. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching Camnet TV. Join Prudence Chota tomorrow on The Business for Breakfast. Good morning.